I think I'm going to initiate with talking about how Tilt works, what Tilt is, and how I built it. So, at the core of it, Tilt is divided into two parts. There's a social platform that we're currently pivoting into a logic market, more on that later. And there's a B2B SaaS tool for newsrooms. I will share my screen and show you the SaaS tool. Just a second. There we go. Yeah, so what we do is we embed under any news article, any website really, and we scan page context and generate a debate. Now, the way that debate works is users can go and post and vote on any issue that they want. And what ends up happening is engagement goes up for the newsrooms. Let me show you an example of how it works. Right here is a page that has Tilt installed, and this is what it looks like. So it generated this headline based on the context of this page. You can put agree, neutral, or disagree. Your vote will go through, and you can post a take. What that means is you can post your reasoning for voting for a side on the debate topic, and it gets logic scored. The best arguments get pushed up to the top, which means higher quality discourse for newsrooms. Not only that, for users that want to post other things or have other ideas in mind or other debate topics, they can either start debates, they can pick a GIF, they can just post generic comments. And those don't get logic scored, they only get sorted by recency, because sometimes an off-topic comment cannot get scored by a criteria of relevancy. So yeah, that's half of what we do.
I think he might have gotten disconnected. I'll quickly let him know. Okay, he's back. I think he might have gotten disconnected is all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's half of what we do. The second half is what I'm going to go through now. It's called a logic market. And a logic market is kind of like a prediction market. It's an adjacent space. And it's where you can place bets on things that are not objective. Like objective events mean, is team A or team B going to win this game? Is candidate X or Y going to be elected for this position? Will X dollars happen, or will a company's valuation cross this amount by this date? And although we do have those, what we are really proud of and excel at are subjective debates. Here, I'll share my screen. So this is what it looks like. It's called Ravioli, and we're introducing logic markets. What I just went over what that means, but here you can see live games that you can bet on, because as I said, Ravioli allows you to bet on both objective and subjective events. Not only that, with Ravioli, any user can participate for free. So you can, when you join, you get free credits, and you can cash those out in the shop for real prizes. And there are some crazy prizes on here. PS5 console, Nintendo Switch, TV, Apple Watch, iPhone, MacBook. There's so much you can do just by engaging and playing for free. So it's all upside, absolutely no downside. I'm also going to walk through some of the features of Ravioli in depth. Right here, you can see a standard market about whether US oil prices will exceed $100 per barrel by May 2026. You can vote yes, or you can place your side yes or no. And you can put a comment, and you're actually required to put a comment in order to trade, because your reasoning and argumentation directly impacts payouts. So if your comment gets scored a 80 out of 100 on the logic aspect, your payout will be 80% of what's shown here. If it scores 100 out of 100, you'll get your entire payout. If it scores 50 out of 100, you'll get half of it. If I go to debates, you can see the other type of markets. These are the subjective markets that I was talking about. Let's go to this one. Should gig workers be classified as employees? You can see the way that the arguments have continued to evolve. Yes, no, yes, no. You can see what people have posted. And the unique part about these is that arguments only get revealed when the market closes. So you're actually betting on which side will have stronger arguments, which side will have a stronger average logic score. So say this argument that I posted gets scored an 80 and this argument gets scored a 40, and the other side has an average logic score of 20. 60 is higher than 20, so the market will resolve to yes. You can also sell your shares to mitigate losses or maybe go while you win. And it's all about market sentiment. So you can see how the graph evolves and you can see how people's opinions continue to change. Let's keep going. We have a leaderboard where users' profits, the amount of volume that has been traded, and the amount of predictions that people have made show up. You can see activities. You can see people actively using the platform. You can see people commenting, posting takes, making trades, so on and so forth. The leaderboard has all these filters. There's a notification modal where you can see everything that happens. But now for my absolute favorite part, the portfolio. This is a comprehensive, in-depth overview of all of your positions at the moment, what's happening to those positions, and how things are changing. So these are resting orders. That means that there's not enough liquidity on the opposite side for the orders to go through, and they're waiting for someone else to make an opposing trade that will fulfill both of your orders. Here you can see the history of the trades that you made. I bet that there would be a draw for Espanyol versus Celta Vigo, and I guess there was a draw, so I ended up profiting 237%. You can see debates that you are actively involved in and have placed a trade in. You can see transactions that have been made. And this transaction ledger is atomic. That means everything that happens, every input, every output will show up here. There's nothing that this transaction table doesn't show. So yeah, this is the reputation that I was talking about. What that means is over time, your reputation continues to build. When I score a ton of high logic scores, my reputation slowly advances. And eventually your reputation gets so high that it starts impacting multipliers instead of the actual logic scores. Let me show you an example of elsewhere where reputation is pretty useful. If I go to Legend, you can see a lot of these items require a 1000 reputation. So they require you to have been active, to have been genuinely using the platform for a long time with real maturity. And that's what makes it so magical, because if you do what you're supposed to, you can win really good prizes on Ravioli. So that's the core of it. Now I want to talk about the tech stack and the way it works. Ravioli is, on the financial side, built on a dual automated market maker as well as continuous limit order book system. The automated market maker ensures liquidity where there is, it creates false liquidity in order for trades to go through. But once the AMM pool is cleared, all markets shift to the continuous limit order book. That means that people need to make opposing trades so you can't generate fake liquidity. And it means that it means no markets feel like ghost towns. All trades go through at the start, but markets can't be exploited either. We achieve this through a smart routing system that resolves all, that lets you go through the AMM pool until it's cleared, and then auto redirects your payments to the continuous limit order book. So that's the financial infrastructure of Ravioli. Let's talk about the tech stack. The tech stack is Next.js, 16 plus app router, React, Supabase, all written in TypeScript, and we use Redis for rate limiting, Cloudflare Turnstile, as well as Twilio for bot prevention, and all of these, and Vercel for hosting. All of these different tools kind of come together so perfectly, and I love how they work really well. My biggest learning from building all of this was probably with Supabase RLS. At the very start, when I was using Supabase for the first time with Tilt before we pivoted, and I'll actually show you what Tilt looks like, what the old Tilt used to look like while I talk. Let me share my screen. Yeah, here it is. So before we pivoted, Tilt used to look like this. It was a mix of Reddit and X with AI embedded everywhere. And what I learned with Supabase when I was first using it is that row level security is absolutely critical. In my first few weeks of building, what happened was Tilt blew up, and someone tried to extort me. Let me show you. Not on this account, I guess, but I'll log out and sign into another one. If I go to messages and I go right here, someone tried to convince me that if I sent $50 in Bitcoin to a certain wallet, they would stop a cyber attack. In reality, what they had figured out how to do is use my Supabase lack of RLS settings to gather all the database info and just keep posting inserts. They posted tens of thousands of debates, a lot of bogus and scam takes, and it just turned into a huge headache for me. I didn't know how it was happening. I didn't know what was happening. And I learned the hard way that Supabase RLS is absolutely critical. I've also learned quite a few things with Next.js and React, the common tech stack. I'm pretty new to relatively new to programming. I actually started just about 6 or 7 months ago, and the way that I've learned has kind of been trial and error. So obviously, I'm using AI tools to help me. Everyone does. It helps me be a lot more efficient. But more than that, I find it amazing how Vercel has developed such incredible and efficient system like Next.js, where it's so easy and organized to build and host websites. I had quite a few issues with folder naming and organization of the app, but eventually I learned my way through it, and I love it. I've loved the tech stack. I'm super grateful to Vercel for creating it. And yeah, those are my two key learnings from building Tilt. On the business side of it, aside from the technical side, I've learned that most people are all bark, no bite, if that's the right way to put it. Investors will reach out to you, customers will say they want to use your product. You'll get 10,000 signs of validation, but it's absolutely critical that you don't get pleased by any of them. None of them mean anything until the term sheet is sent, until the payment is in your bank account. And I hated that feeling of getting excited and saying, yes, I finally have a lead. Yes, someone is going to send a term sheet. And until someone did, it sucked because everyone said yes, but very few people actually followed through. And it was kind of demoralizing until I realized that you can't get excited by something someone says they're going to do. You can only get excited once they actually do it. Not only that, social media has been a big adventure for me, learning how to use the algorithm, how to scale accounts, and how to just get the most engagement as possible. If you go to Instagram, at tilt.vote is currently at 11,500 followers, and it's been a roller coaster. Out of the hundreds of reels that I've posted, a total of 3 have gone viral. One reached almost 250,000 views, maybe more than that if I don't remember. One reached almost 500,000 views, and the other one is currently still going viral. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it just takes consistency. I mean, I post every day. Most videos don't get over 1,000 views, but the ones that take off really do. Uh, LinkedIn and X are two completely different monsters. LinkedIn is all just about connecting with the right audience, and X is about I they recently open sourced their algorithm, but the way it feels to me, and I'm not talking from a technical perspective, it just feels very random. You can post the same content as others. You can post post something similar, but it's very you can't speculate about when things something is going to go viral. It makes it difficult, but X rewards consistency. TikTok is the only platform that doesn't penalize you for posting the same content more than once. And I I wish I could say that I've been taking advantage of it, but truth be told, I've been kind of behind on TikTok. So time to get back on that. Uh, on top of that, I Tilt in general has just been a big learning lesson for me. I'm grateful for everything that I've learned, and I'm super excited to see it continue to scale. Um, See users sign up for Ravioli, close our round, get to huge revenue. But it's all about just working with your head down and chin up, because at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And with that, I think I'm open to questions.
Okay,
Yeah, so I think
perfect.
you got like a record number of questions at the talk. So let's just go through them all real quick. So I think
So,
first question's from Lakshit Kumawat, which says, "How do you handle moderation on Tilt?"
Yeah, thank you for the question, Lakshit. What we do is we use custom fine-tuned models to moderate user comments and what users have to say. And on top of that, we run big posts like debate creation and logic scoring through multiple models, so it's difficult to get around our moderation system.
so next up we have from Ethan. What is the benefit of an all upside, no downside, I think, system in Ravioli for you as a creator?
Yeah, so at the start, it's supposed to be a user acquisition engine. Eventually, we have other goals and ways that we are going to monetize it, but we're currently operating at a loss. And I think it's the best way to scale prediction market type ecosystems.
Yeah, so
Okay.
this is not exactly a question, but I'd just like to point out that Bob says love from China.
Thank you, Bob. Love from Houston.
All right, yeah. So
Next we
moving on to
have
the actual question, Stephen Navarro. So he's asking what brought you to create Tilt/Ravioli.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Two things. Number one, I was the most political 10-year-old you would ever seen if you met me during COVID. I used to spend hours on news platforms like Fox and CNN just debating my way through it. And I enjoyed it, but I hated it at the same time, because no matter how good I argued, my everything was organized by recency and upvotes, which meant that the loudest voices won rather than the ones that made the most sense. And the second reason is because, as from my experience as a nationally ranked and state champion congressional debater, I learned that the world is nothing like the debate room. There's logic doesn't win, noise does. And I hated it, because whenever I wanted to express something, I would get yelled at, I would get ignored, and Tilt was supposed to fix that.
Yes, so I think we have another question from InspireX2934, which says, "How would Ravioli be able to generate a profit if no money is involved?"
Yeah, so we have a couple tools for that later down the line. I can't say too much right now, but uh, right now, all that users should be focusing on is enjoying the platform and getting free things.
Yeah. And then another question from Bob that says, "How can I invest in Ravioli/Tilt today?"
Yeah, you can email Veer at tilt.vote or Wyatt at tilt.vote, and we'll be able to handle everything from there. We'd love to get in touch with you.
Okay. Again, a new question from Rex Griffin. So he's asking you, what is the comparison between how Tilt made money, how Ravioli made money, and why they pivot?
Absolutely. So, regarding the pivot, the number one thing I learned from Tilt as a social platform is that users don't want to come back if there's no incentive for them to. Sure, debate is fun. Sure, the concept of tilt is very intriguing. But at the end of the day, users come back to X and Instagram because there's a genuine huge social web waiting for them there. And there's kind of that chicken and egg problem in new social media platforms. That's why they require an incentive for users to keep coming back. And
Okay.
the reason that Ravioli was made is to fix that incentive, that lack of incentive, actually. Users are coming back to Ravioli because they have something to gain from long-term involvement.
Yeah, so I think we have another question from Bob for all, which says, how much water does Tilt currently use?
Um, you'd have to ask for Cell.
Okay. Moving on to another question from Stephen Navarro. It says, obviously putting a lot more effort into building these platforms as a kid. What does it take for you to work on all this? Looks like exceptional work despite there being results or not.
Look, eventually, the way I think about it is, if you knew there was a huge opportunity for you, like whatever your goal is, whether it's money, whether it's impact, if you knew it was waiting for you 1,000 days of hard work down the line, and all you had to do to get there was work extremely hard with your head down and chin up, as I said earlier, for 1,000 days, would you do it or not? And it's as simple as that. When you put your mind to something, obviously you can never guarantee an outcome, but you can dramatically increase the probability of it happening. And that's what it takes, just mental fortitude.
Yeah, so next we have a comment from Bob again. He seems like a fan of yours. So he says, I agree, we shouldn't count the chickens before they hatch. You have a great future, kid.
Appreciate that, Bob.
Yeah. Okay, so going on to the actual question, it's from Ninja. He asks, hi, Veer, in the future, if Ravioli does indeed receive VC funding, how would you best make use of to scale it? I know you've done an extremely admirable job in social media content. Props to you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Ninja. Second of all, our roadmap to when we get VC funding and the usage of it is split into a couple of different steps. Number one, we want to get SOC 2 compliant, so our enterprise product is ready to start getting sales. Number two, we want to put more money into marketing, because if we've been able to get to 11,500 followers on $0 of content spend, imagine how much we could do with as a VC backed startup. Number three, I want to scale the team, because I can only work for so many hours a day. If someone else is able to work for the same amount of hours, then we dramatically increase the speed at which we work. We also want to hire interns for growth and other roles that will allow Ravioli to balloon.
Yeah, so wait, before we move on, I'd like to ask my own question to you,
Yeah,
Veer,
go
and
for it.
that's how did you like exactly incorporate like VC funding into this? Like, did you apply to startup incubators like Y Combinator or like Z Fellows or anything like that?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've applied to Z Fellows once. We've applied to YC 3 times, and uh, our third application was just submitted about 6 days ago. So fingers crossed for that. Third time's the charm. Uh, I applied. Tilt was actually accepted into Antler's fall 25 batch. I couldn't attend because Texas truancy laws were way too strict, and I was unable to miss school without there being significant consequences at home. But um, incubators are one way. Many angels have expressed interest in investing, and we're also reaching out to firms as actual deals.
Okay, yeah, thank you. I think that was a great speech and very
We do have one
enthusiastic.
more question, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a new question in from Rex Griffin again. Can you tell a bit about your debating experience and what strengths/problems you might have found there that led to Tilt/Ravioli's development?
Yeah, sure. So I did congressional debate, and one of the things that I learned in congressional debate was, if you want to convince a room full of people of something that they don't want to believe, is that you need rhetoric, and you need to explain your argument in a way that A leads to B, B leads to C, C leads to D. You need to have a good chain of reasoning. yelling doesn't work, a ton of logical fallacies don't work, and you need to be talking about the way that things, you need to be saying relevant things. And that's actually what Tilt's algorithm is, Tilt's logic scoring system is built on. 4 criteria: relevancy, a logic emotional balance score, a fact check, and a fallacy check. And I hated that whenever I wanted to convince my mom or brothers of something, I would be met with yelling and fallacies instead of good reasoning and a real reason as to why I couldn't go see my friends that day. And
Yeah.
that's what Tilt's logic scoring system is built to fix.
All right, yeah. So, I think that might be the last of the questions. Oh wait, no, we have another one from Ethan Hatif. Has a very lively chat. So it's asking, how do these checks actually work in logic scoring?
Sure. So we use a multimodal system. Part of our IP is the actual system, so I can't go too much in detail. But we use fine-tuned models for fact-checking, for fallacy detection, as well as for relevancy and logic emotional scoring. Base models don't deliver the same exactitude of scores that are correct, and that's what the checks are built to solve. We also have a validator model at the end that makes sure that all scores are correct.
Oh, okay. I think, oh yeah, Ethan Hatif responded with the follow-up that says, sounds good. Good job, Veer. But I
Appreciate
think
that.
that must be the last of the questions. Obviously, you've engaged a lot of people in the audience. It's been going on for a long time. So, and I wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors on Tilt and Ravioli as a whole. Good luck, Veer. Thank you.
Thank you guys so
you so
much for
much.
your time. I'm going to get off now, but have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everyone, for your
you.
questions.
Thank you, Veer. There is always an opportunity to contribute to the discussions that we have at EnviroCast Geo. If you are interested in attending or even speaking at a future conference, learn more at geo.envirocast.org. We're excited to hear your insights.